Human resources does not show up when you need protection. It shows up when the company needs documentation. And that difference, so small in words and so large in consequences, is exactly what nobody explains to you on your first day. Because the system is not broken. It is working perfectly, just not for you. What makes these mechanisms so effective is that they almost never present themselves as aggression. They present themselves as process, as restructuring, as feedback, as support. And that is exactly why they are so confusing. Because you feel the damage before you can name the strategy. And when you cannot name it, the first place you look for an explanation is yourself. If you have ever been put on a performance improvement plan, promised a promotion that never came, overloaded until you started making mistakes, or asked to train someone who slowly took over your work, this video will help you understand what may really be happening behind the scenes. Human resources does not always manage people. Many times it manages exits. Number 5. The improvement plan that improves nothing. Your boss calls you into a meeting that no one schedules with good news. They tell you it is a supportive conversation, that human resources wants to support your development, and they present you with a performance improvement plan. They explain that it is not a punishment. In week 1, the goal is to improve your communication. In week 3, the issue is your leadership presence. By the end of the first month, a new criterion appears: insufficient strategic thinking. And right before your formal review, the goals change again. You fix what they asked, and what they ask changes. The problem is not that they are evaluating you, it is that they already decided. They are not measuring whether you improve. They are accumulating material. The day you arrived 5 minutes late to a video call because your connection failed, that appears in your file as lack of punctuality. The afternoon you took 1 hour to respond to an email because you were in the middle of a delivery, that becomes lack of responsiveness. What they are building is not your improvement, it is your record. Number 4. The phantom promotion. This does not hurt like a betrayal. It hurts like hope that slowly wears out. Your boss calls you with a smile. They say your work has been excellent, that if you maintain this pace for the next 6 months, the promotion is yours. And you believe them, because you have reasons to believe them. Because you have been proving for a long time that you can. 6 months pass. The budget is tight right now. There is one more project they need you to handle first. The timing is still not right. And so, month after month, the horizon moves exactly the same distance from where you stand. The phantom promotion does not buy your talent, it buys your waiting. This is not poor planning. It is strategic use of your expectation. The company knows exactly how much you produce when you have an active expectation. It knows that the enthusiasm of someone who believes they are close to something important multiplies their output. And while that works, there is no real incentive to fulfill the promise. And this is where many people lose entire years. Not in a dismissal, not in a conflict. They lose them waiting for a promise that was never a real decision, one that existed only so you would keep running. The cost of the phantom promotion is not measured only in the salary that never came. It is measured in the years you stopped using to move. Number 3. The strategic overload. You start with a reasonable workload, 3 or 4 projects, everything under control. Then they add one more thing. Small, they say. Temporary, they assure. And then another. And another. Until you are answering emails at 11 at night, skipping meals, canceling plans, and still feeling like it is not enough. That no matter how much you do, there is always something left incomplete. That feeling of reaching the end of the day, having given everything and still owing something, is not professional demand. It is a trap that feels like your responsibility. And this is where it stops being a management issue and becomes a pattern. Because this does not happen to mediocre employees. It happens to good ones. Precisely because good employees try to deliver. They stay longer. They absorb pressure without complaining because they want to prove they can. And while they do all that, the company documents the errors that inevitably appear when someone is at the limit of their capacity. The employee who does the minimum is relatively protected. They did not take on more than they could handle. There is no material to build a case against them. When a company does not want to fire you, it starts redesigning your exhaustion. So when your workload suddenly doubles, before reading it as recognition, ask a different question. Who benefits from me reaching my limit? If you have already lived even one of these situations and it took you months to understand what was happening, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. This channel exists exactly to name that. Number 2. The feedback that says nothing. You are in your annual review. Your boss says there is room to improve your overall effectiveness, that the team feels you could strengthen your professional presence, that there is concern about your execution capabilities. You ask what that means concretely. They tell you the important thing is to focus on growth. Vague feedback does not correct, it disarms. You leave that meeting without knowing what to improve, without having a single concrete fact you can defend yourself with. The imprecision is not a communication mistake, it is the strategy. Because if the criticisms were specific, you could challenge them, document them, resolve them. When they are vague, they remain floating, and the formal record stays on their side. Ambiguity is not always disorder. Sometimes it is legal coverage. When you receive this type of feedback, respond in writing. Ask for the improvement points to be stated in specific and measurable terms. Document that you requested it, because forcing them to define things concretely makes what they are building in silence much harder. Number 1. The shadow that comes to learn. There are compliments that do not recognize your value. They only prepare your replacement. And that compliment arrives in the most disarming way. Your boss introduces you to someone new. They say this person will learn from the best, that it is recognition of your experience and everything you have built, and you receive it generously because that is who you are. You teach them your processes, your shortcuts, the logic behind decisions you make without thinking, because you have been doing them for years. You give them everything. By the 3rd month, that person is handling half of your responsibilities. By the 6th, the team structure is reorganized, and your position, as it existed, is no longer necessary. Training your replacement is one of the cleanest traps a company can set for you, because you are the one who executes it, and you do it convinced that you are doing the right thing. When they ask you to teach everything you know, they are no longer developing you. They are replacing you. The company avoids the cost of severance, avoids the legal risk of a formal dismissal, and gets the knowledge transfer it needed without paying what it should for it. If you refuse to train that person, you become someone who does not work well in a team. If you train them, you accelerate your own replaceability. It is a structure with no easy exit, and the only real defense is to document from the very beginning every task that shifts to that person, every responsibility that stops being yours. The next time something at work starts to feel off, do not rush to correct yourself first. Look at the pattern, the compliment that arrives when you already have too much work, the feedback that says nothing but gets documented, the support that records instead of resolving, the training that transfers what only you knew how to do. When you can read that, the system loses its main advantage over you, that you did not know it was a system. The next time human resources talks to you about support, also listen to what risk the company is trying to reduce, because those two things are rarely the same. This is how corporate politics often works when nobody says the quiet part out loud. The language sounds professional, the meetings look normal, and the process appears neutral, but the pattern tells a different story. If you learn to recognize performance improvement plans, vague feedback, phantom promotions, strategic overload, and replacement training as signals, you stop reacting only to what they say and start reading what the organization is actually doing. You are not just working, you are being managed, and that changes your position completely. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like this video if something you heard finally put into words, something you already knew but could not say.